Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
It was a solid weekend in Detroit last week for the Michigan State hockey team, coming off a 4-3 overtime loss in Ann Arbor to rival Michigan on Friday. The Spartans traveled to Detroit for the annual Duel in the D at Little Caesars Arena. Michigan State was able to win 5-2 and took over first place in the Big Ten with the victory. Here's a recap of how they got it done. Last weekend's series was the first time ever Michigan and Michigan State had met on the ice as top two opponents. Michigan goaltender Jack-Ivan Kovic returned to the starting lineup on Saturday after missing the last 4 weeks with a leg injury. He got a loud cheer from Michigan fans, but it was MSU goaltender and Red Wings draft pick Trey Augustine getting a much louder ovation. MSU would strike first in Hockey Town. Gavin O'Connell scores the first goal of the game with just over 10 minutes remaining in the period. Later in the first period, the Spartans were on a power play and freshman Porter Martone snipes one home for his 16th goal of the season. MSU takes a 2-0 lead into the first intermission, and the lead kept growing in the second period. Maxim Sturback threads the needle to Charlie Stramel, and the Spartans go up 3-0 just 4 minutes into the period. Less than 2 minutes later, Tommy Manisto finds Tiernan Shouty, and the senior grows the lead to 4. Michigan would respond with 2 goals, but it was too little, too late. Michigan State would go on to win 5-2 to capture the Duel in the D, and it was a great response after giving up a 3-1 lead the previous night in Ann Arbor.
We had a tough meeting this morning with our guys, and that's one of the things we talked to them about is, you know, we made a commitment to hold you accountable and play to a standard. It's not about the score, and they deserve to win. And you know, we can fall into the trap where we were leading for 50 minutes and we just kind of, you know, lost it in 10 minutes. And the reality is that's not what happened, right? So we need to be better, and big time response by our guys tonight.
Anytime you have a chance to, you know, win a trophy, it's always a big game, and you know, I know our group was up for it, and have a response from last night is huge. And you know, I think the big thing about our group is, you know, we just continue to get better as the season goes on, and I don't think we've hit our peak yet, and I think we still got more, and that's just going to come through practice every single day, pushing each other to, you know, get better. But you know, it's always nice to get a victory and win a trophy.
This marked the 3rd straight year Michigan State has won the Iron D Trophy at the Duel in the D. It's MSU's longest winning streak at the Duel in the D since winning 3 in a row from 1997 to 99. The turnaround of the MSU hockey program under head coach Adam Nightingale has led to a lot more fans coming out to the Motor City.
I thought the crowd was awesome. You know, I look back when I was working here in Detroit, bringing my family to the game, and it was probably about half full, you know, and I think a lot of that is, you know, we had to do our part, right, to make it a rivalry, and sort of to see it full and the excitement. I thought that was great.
Obviously, it's a super fun game to play in, great environment, great fans, and it's a big rivalry, and it means a lot to us. And the main thing is just coming out of here with a win, and so happy we were able to do that tonight.
The 3 straight victories Michigan State has had over Michigan in Detroit have all seen the Spartans have Trey Augustine as the goaltender. The 2022 Red Wings draft pick put on a show in his potential home arena. Augustine allowed just 2 goals on 25 shots. He ranks 3rd in the nation in save percentage and leads the nation in goalie wins entering this weekend.
For Trey, just how have you been able to manage these last 2 weeks? Obviously, two games in packed road environments and an outdoor game, and a game like this as a goaltender. How have you just kind of been able to manage that?
Yeah, I think really just taking care of my body during the week. Obviously, last weekend was a really quick turnaround in Penn State, so just staying ahead of stuff, and then throughout the week, this week, just making sure I'm in a good spot heading in.
After MSU was done raising the Iron D Trophy on Saturday and posed for a team photo on the ice, Nightingale gathered the group together to deliver a message on what he wants the program to stand by.
It's important to win with class and lose with class, right? So just for our guys, right? I know guys are excited, and they should be, right? This is important, but I also never believed, and I think it's important for our program, is, you know, we respect your opponent, and we're not rubbing in anyone's face. So we're not going down hooting and hollering down the hallway. You got to respect your opponent, you know, and this game's going to win either way. So I think that's really important for our program, right? Is make sure when you do have success, make sure you handle it with class.
With the win over Michigan, the Spartans now control their own destiny in the race for the Big Ten title with 6 games remaining in the regular season. The Spartans had this weekend off because of a bye. They'll be back in action next weekend to take on Notre Dame here at Munn Ice Arena. And the Spartans' win over Michigan was not the only top 5 victory a program at Michigan State had last Saturday. We'll have more on that coming up right after the break.
We show up every day to lead, to grow, to build.
Being a Spartan means leading with purpose.
It's about trust.
It's about team.
It's about showing up. That kind of commitment carries beyond the ring.
Into the classroom, into the community.
MSU FCU understands that.
They're more than a partner.
They're with us.
Every step.
They believe in what we're building.
They're all in. Join the team that backs the Spartans.
MSU FCU.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Michigan State point guard Jeremy Fears Jr. made quite a bit of headlines last week after picking up a flagrant foul in the loss to Minnesota for kicking a player in between the legs. It all came after Michigan head coach Dusty May said Fears had a few dangerous plays in the rivalry matchup on January 30th. Head coach Tom Izzo considered benching Fears for last Saturday's game against Illinois. Fears ultimately played and showed why he's one of the best players in the country. Illinois came into last Saturday's game on a 12-game winning streak, but the Izzone would be making getting a 13th straight win very difficult. First half, a rebound comes out to Cam Ward, and he takes it coast to coast, throwing it down in traffic to tie the game at 12 apiece. Later, David Merkovich hit a 3 to put Illinois up 23-19. The Illini led by 4 heading into halftime. Second half, with under 9 minutes to go, it's the other MSU freshman, Jordan Scott, nailing a big-time 3 to tie things up at 56. This one would come down to the wire. Under 30 seconds to go, Markovich battles his way through, and he puts Illinois up 1. MSU needs something. Jackson Kohler kicks it out to Kurtang. He hits the 3. MSU goes up 2 in the final moments. MSU just needs an Illinois stop and a miss. They get it, but chaos inside, and Jake Davis gets fouled. He would make his free throw, so overtime we go. And in OT, here comes Jeremy Fears Jr. The bucket and the foul to put MSU up by 3. Then it's Fears driving again. He misses. Cam Ward is there to put the Spartans up by 5. Fears took over in the extra frame, and MSU wins a thriller 85-82 in overtime. And after a long week of criticism, Fears responded in a big way.
He played really well, but he'll be the first to tell you, like a couple of those cutouts and that he missed. I mean, there was a couple of switches, but we played him a lot of minutes too, and Denham did a good job the little he was in there. And Jeremy was phenomenal once we got him downhill a little bit. And his defense was really good. He just got lax, not used to covering, because we put a bigger guy, Jordan, on Wagler. Jeremy had to cover Davis kid some. And, I thought his attitude and his performance and accepting what he didn't do right was excellent. So yeah, I was pleased, and he's making more free throws. He's done a hell of a job at the free throw line and still gets 15 assists and 2 turnovers, so it's not like he's just scoring it.
Jordan Scott was tasked with guarding Illinois standout freshman Keaton Wagler, who scored 46 points at Purdue last month. And Scott was up for the challenge and then some. Wagler finished with 16 points, but was 2 for 16 from the field.
He did a very good job on him, and what did that is he has a sense of urgency about him. That's why I ended up starting him. There's a sense of urgency this kid has. I thought he was going to be soft and not a very good defender. And that's why I told you guys as the summer went, I compared him to Max Christie. I thought Max Christie was our best defender. This kid has really defended. He gets loose balls. He's making shots now.
I felt very confident. I think during all of our practices, walkthroughs and everything, we just knew their plays. We knew what they were doing. We got a little messed up that's going to happen in games, but I think overall we did a pretty good job on our coverages. I was excited. I definitely wanted the challenge. So when Coach told me that, just watched a lot of film on him, and I just got ready to come play today.
Scott's role is going to continue to grow in the second half of the season now with guard Divine Ugachukwu out for the season. Scott and fellow freshman Cam Ward continue to see their roles get bigger as the season moves along. And for Ward, he is getting back to playing at a high level after having an early season wrist injury.
You know, if I was to tell you the truth, I feel as good for Cam Ward as I do anybody. And Jackson deserves more credit for 16 rebounds. He didn't shoot it as well, but 16 rebounds is unbelievable. But Cam Ward, he brought energy. He's a phenomenal defender, and that's why we had him in there in the end. And not a great free throw shooter, and when he knocked those two down, I think if anybody needed a game like this, it was him. And I thought, because he's a good player, and he's going to be a really good player, and he's a really good kid.
I think today was probably the most fun I've had playing, honestly, since I've been here. Past couple games have been a little tough mentally, I would say, on everybody, just because of like people getting mentally tired. You start thinking like, oh, we only have a couple weeks left. We've been here so long. And I just think today, like the fact that I was able to smile in certain aspects was kind of good. Like when things weren't going well, like we all still had a smile on our face, and I think that contributes just to like the talks that we've had as a team, just to keep going and just focus on our main goal.
This week, Jeremy Fierce Jr. was named to the John Wooden Award late mid-season top 20 watch list. The Wooden Award is the most prestigious college basketball award, and Michigan State has never had a player win it. Back in 1979, Larry Bird won it over Magic Johnson. Coming up after the break, we'll continue our talk about what happened last week for Michigan State athletics, which includes the gymnastics team picking up a big-time victory on the road. We'll have that for you coming up right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
The Michigan State gymnastics team picked up its second straight Big Ten road victory this past weekend. The Spartans first took down rival Michigan in Ann Arbor and then went to Penn State and picked up a victory. We had a chance this week to catch up with head coach Mike Rowe to talk about his coaching philosophy and why he is enjoying this year's team. A little over a month into the season, won your last two road meets. What have you liked about the way the team is coming along as the season is moving along now?
I like that we're hitting more on all cylinders. We still have a ways to go because we should be in the mid to high 197s. But I also like the fact that we're moving some people around for whatever reason, whether there's injuries and someone's had to come out, or some kids that are just getting ready are moving into an exhibition spot that's moved into a lineup spot. We got a lot of little things. We're playing around with depth, so we're getting to experience following up with that and giving these kids opportunities to get out there in front of judges, in front of fans, and see how they respond.
To see Michaela Tucker get her first all-around at Michigan, what was it like for you as a coach to see her now really thriving in this bigger role this season?
That was so exciting, so exciting. Because she's a very controlled athlete, and when she hits on all four, you just know it's going to be good. And I think she's getting more confident and developing the confidence. She hadn't attempted the all-around, or she hadn't been making the lineups consistently to be able to do that. So putting her in and doing that, obviously we did that earlier before Michigan, and then Michigan she comes out and just with gangbusters and does it. And to see her demeanor and her calm, cool, and collected kind of, and then it happened. It was just like, well, yep, yay for me. But she doesn't get overly excited or anything like that. She's very humble and very grounded. So so excited for her, probably more than she is for herself.
How nice is it as a coach to see like that progress throughout a season? From the start to halfway through, really. And what's that like as a coach to know that they are getting better and they're kind of listening to what you're preaching to them?
It's so nice. It's so nice. And I think these are smart kids who've been doing this sport for a long time. You know, their bodies are all beat up, and you know, we like to emphasize, you know, quality over quantity all the time, so we don't bang them up with a lot of numbers here. And that, along with the technicians that they are, from the backgrounds that they've come from, and our little bit that we contribute to help get them to the next level, you know, it's more about that. It's you know, watching them grow and being proud of their success. I get more fulfillment from watching them grow as human beings.
Is that something that got you into coaching, knowing like the progress that they can make from freshman to senior, or is that something you didn't understand really until you became a head coach?
That's a good question. When I was at Pitt, I wanted my own program. I wanted my own program, but for the wrong reasons. And coming here and getting it as it came about, I had to rethink everything, and not only for what reasons, but how to go about it, because it is a huge undertaking, and now with NIL and revenue sharing and all that, it's a whole nother thing. But you do really have to think before you speak, which I've been terribly guilty of all my life, putting both feet in my mouth. So it's like it's just being more aware, more in the moment, more with the individual. My way is not the highway. You know, using my staff and getting ideas from them, sharing ideas.
Do you know what sparked that interest of wanting your own program when you were at Pitt?
Taking the Pitt job was a gamble anyway, because I wasn't sure I wanted to do it. It was just a job that I needed a job, and one of my coaches I coached with in the developmental program level was like, "Did you ever try to think of college gymnastics?" I was like, "Not really." And we were moving to Pittsburgh, and the position came available, and I applied for it and got it. And I wasn't in it long before I knew this is what I want to do. This is how I want to finish. You know, this is my career, what it's going to be, as long as I get good at it or something. I was there for 9 years before I actually left to come here, and was assistant here before this, you know, became available. But I like to be a sponge in regards to the sport, learning from, you know, other colleagues across the country.
Where would you say you have grown just from when you became a head coach here to now leading this program into being a top, really 12 program right now?
I want to say I complained a lot at the beginning, because it was like, well, they have this, well, they have that, well, they get to do this, well, they get to do that. And it was like, reel them in, and just say, you know, I had to flip my whole mindset as to, you know, you can win a Big Ten championship in this facility. And would it be great to have a new facility someday? Yeah, and that's in the plans. That's great. You know, we sell the university, the educational aspect of the university to our recruits, and being realistic with some of these kids that we're competing against, you know, top 5, top 10 programs around the country that have all that other stuff. We say, we're going to peel back all the layers as a staff when you're here on your visit. We want you to do the same thing, because that's the only way we really get to know you in a 2-day period.
The Spartans will be back in action on Sunday at home, taking on Maryland as well as Western Michigan. Coming up after our final break, we'll do something a little different. We're going to do a throwback, because it was a very special Super Bowl Sunday for one former Spartan. We'll have that for you right after the break.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
This past Sunday, former Michigan State running back standout Kenneth Walker III took home the Super Bowl MVP honors. Walker rushed for 135 yards on 27 carries in Seattle's 29-13 victory over New England. Walker was the first running back to win the award since Terrell Davis in 1998, and he's also the first Michigan State alum to win Super Bowl MVP. So we decided this week to relive Walker's lone magical season in East Lansing.
I'm super excited, bro. Like, I feel like the days are going so slow, because like it's getting so much closer. But like, we just had a open practice, and we got to see some of the fans. And like, I don't know, after like looking around, we get to see the fans and stuff. Like, that's so exciting to me, because like I know last year, it was no fans. You know, we didn't have no fans. So I'm really excited to see Spartan Nation. It's exciting.
After 2 seasons at Wake Forest, Kenneth Walker III transferred to Michigan State in January of 2021. He made quite the first impression on Spartan Nation in his MSU debut on September 3rd at Northwestern.
Joe has met leather, and we are underway. And the first touch is for Kenneth Walker. And a breakaway down the far sideline. And Kenneth Walker will take it to the house.
75 yards on the first play was a part of a 264-yard and 4-touchdown performance Walker had in Michigan State's 38-21 victory over the Wildcats. It was the first time an MSU running back had ran for over 200 yards since Le'Veon Bell in 2014. It was a performance Walker's teammate at the time, Xavier Henderson, was kind of expecting to see in the 2021 season opener.
I just want to say I'm sorry for maybe not hyping Kenneth up enough. So that's my one thing I want to start with. I went up to one of our strength and conditioning coaches, Coach Guess. I was like, I can't believe that just happened. All week I was saying I can't wait to watch Kenneth run because that's the kind of stuff he was doing against us in practice. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to do that against somebody else. Y'all ever seen The Longest Yard? He looks like Nelly off The Longest Yard, or we call him Booby Miles. He can do it all.
With MSU gearing up for the home opener against Youngstown State the following week, Walker continued to show off one of his best skills, how humble he can be.
I don't put any pressure on myself at all. Like I said, I put that in the past, and we're on to the next week. I don't really think about it at all.
I know what kind of guy he is. You know, people say it a lot, but he truly is a better person than he is a player, which is really saying a lot. I love the guy, and I've only known him for a few months, but he's a lifelong friend already.
The 264-yard performance against Northwestern was the first of 8 games that saw Walker run for over 100 yards in the 2021 season. He ran for 233 yards at Rutgers and delivered a memorable dap-up with Jalen Naylor mid-touchdown run.
And then has enough gas in the tank, a little high five with Jalen Naylor.
Easily the most memorable performance for Walker came on October 30th, 2021 against rival Michigan.
Here's the give. Walker! Jalen Walker! Touchdown! 20! Hello, New York! I'll see you in a minute! Rest assured, I'm going to be there!
Walker rushed for 197 yards and 5 touchdowns in Michigan State's win over the Wolverines and truly became a Spartan legend that afternoon.
It starts off with the O-line every day. You know, they work hard, super hard in practice, even in the spring.
What does he not do? He does it all. He really is a do-it-all back. And he's got speed, quickness, great vision. He's got the heart of a lion.
He worked for every last one of them touchdowns. We didn't do that in practice. Talking about finish on the play, why you running to the end zone? This plays, we got to tell him to slow down. Can't slow down. Why you running so hard?
Well, the guy was dynamic today. You know, it reminds me a lot of Javon Ringer, who played for us back in 07, 08. But just explosive, dynamic, great vision. You know, he's really got it all. So congratulations.
Walker would finish the season with 1,636 rushing yards and 18 rushing touchdowns. He went on to win the Doak Walker Award, which is given annually to the nation's most outstanding running back. He also won the Walter Camp Player of the Year Award. Walker did not get invited to the Heisman ceremony in 2021, even though many believe he should have. It's why this past Sunday, after Walker won the Super Bowl MVP, MSU football posted on social media, K9 finally gets his applause.
Kenneth, you're looking around, the confetti's falling, you just won the Super Bowl. What are your emotions?
Oh no, it's just a dream come true, you know, because a lot of people, they'll play their whole career and never make it this far.
Cheering for him in the stands this past Sunday in San Francisco was his mom, dad, and little brother.
It means a lot, especially my little brother and my dad. My dad, he comes out to Seattle all the time and watch games, but he never goes to the game because he don't like crowds. So this is his first NFL game, and, you know, we won a Super Bowl, so it means a lot to me, and I know he's proud of me for real. I wasn't the one that convinced him, actually. My agent convinced him to come out here. So I didn't think he would come. They ended up miking him up and everything, so he got out of his comfort zone.
What a journey it has been for Walker, who certainly set the bar high, not just for transfers at Michigan State, but in all of college football. That'll be it for this week's show. As always, we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next week for our very first sit-down interview with the new MSU football coach, Pat Fitzgerald.
Now, the play of the week, sponsored by Schupan & Sons.
Rebound for Scott. Here's Lyle. No way! Time and space move for Cohen Carr.
At Michigan State, we don't just chase dreams.
We build them together. MSU FCU stands with us.
In every season, on every field, every dream.
MSU FCU Women of Sparta is more than a program. It's a movement.
We're creating the next generation of leaders because when Spartans support Spartans, there's nothing we can't do.
This is what strength looks like.
This is Women of Sparta.